Yes, that's a little bit to unpack, isn't it? Global communications, global programming, global deception. Yeah, what is it all? Global warming? Deceived, question mark? To be intellectually honest, if you were deceived, how would you know if you were deceived? How would you get out of that? So I'm going to unpack some of that for us today, take us for a drive, and here we go. Alright, we've got a weather system that's been around for a little while. About 17-mile-an-hour winds right now, coming out of the southwest. Earlier it was coming out of the southeast. And what's happening is the warm air from the tropical regions would be blowing up here. And in just a few days ago, we had 25-degree weather. There you can see the YouTube Truth logo. What I'm going to do is say you can go ahead and hashtag it if you want to, or not. You can just scroll on by. One of the dynamics with all this is just showing you the reality of the world that we live in. Now I had a little bit of, I've been trying to work through some of the challenges with the audio, and then with the video here I want to have some of this set up so that I can take us for a ride right on into the area where I do quite a few live broadcasts, the ocean. And the sun is approaching, should appear here in, about 20 minutes or so, 7:15 today. It's happening now about a minute earlier each day, depending. I had a live broadcast last night that I posted to YouTube. You can check that out, care to. One of the things that I'm highlighting here is the urban displays of the plane mirrors. All the individual flat plane mirrors that will be visible, the trajectory of the lighting, and all that is very obvious if you have eyes to see it. That's part of the issue. You're going to have to, I believe, seek the truth with all your heart to be able to find it, to be able to recognize it. So that's what's going on here. This is real close to sea level. My driveway is about 8 feet above sea level. And these folks over here would get to go first. Yeah, I'm going to go right now. There's typically a water trough right here in the middle on this lane, left and right. We're going to be plowing some water here. Here we go. Here's some more. A lot nicer to be doing this than on the motorcycle, that's for sure. Some of the audio Bible that I've recorded was, I came out during the rain on the motorcycle to do that, just so you know. Part of the dynamic is understanding with globalism, global programming, global warming. It's in global deception. Global, it's all a lie. They're lying about this stuff. They're lying in the globe. They're lying about the reality of the world that we live in, giving people a false reality. It's my turn to go now. Here we go. I'm not too poor to pay attention. You know, right here in the road is where a gentleman was walking, a 45-year-old gentleman, and he was hit and killed right here, right where I'm talking right now. He was walking in the fast lane, hit by a vehicle. I recorded not the actual impact, but all the emergency vehicles afterwards, and his body on the ground. Not a morbid fascination, just commentary on the reality that we are all eternal beings having a temporary human experience. 3 people per second transition to eternity without the function of their body. Where will they be? And why will they be there? There's 2 families that are battling with one another. God, who created this world, and Satan, who was cast out of heaven along with 1/3 of the fallen angels. Demonic entities and components of Satan indwell his children in one form or another. There's a level of evil that's happening in this world that's beyond human. It's demonic. Just so you know, that's what it is. And it's a big deal. Now, we can't see the wind. We can see the effects of the wind. We can't necessarily see evil itself. We can see evil incarnate when it takes up residence in an individual. We can see what it does. An ancient hate. Yeah, it's wicked. Human sacrifice is part of it. Blood sacrifice, abortion is part of it. Human trafficking, human slavery, sex trafficking, intentional breeding of women to create the blood sacrifices in the form of abortion and that. Well, it's part of the reality. Now, a lot of people will say, I just don't even want to think about it. I don't want to look into it. And I would say, well, that's certainly your prerogative. What I am wanting to let you know is that it's occurring, and what we can do to battle that is turn on the light. We can expose it. We can shine a light on it, and people can be aware that their sexual promiscuity or drug addiction that leads to sexual promiscuity, and then convenience abortion or murder or blood sacrifice, which all of that is, that's part of the reality of it. So the changed life that I live now is because I'm actually born of God's Spirit, set free from a life of addiction, and I have a passion, purpose, and an eternal perspective to expose the reality of the world that we live in. That's all. We're approaching the Intracoastal Waterway right now. We'll go up and over that. That's affected by the tidal activity, the rise and fall of the tide. There is certainly some aspect of that that's caused by the expansion and contraction of the water. The density and volume of water changes with temperature. Just so you know. Do you know what a gallon of water weighs? It depends. Depends on its temperature. You can verify anything that I'm saying. If you've got a problem with it, you can call me. You can type your comments in the comments section if you like, or private message me. I typically accept all my private messages. Call me on my landline or my cell phone if you want. It's all public. There's a lot of anger around exposing the reality of the world that we live in. People are deceived and they don't know it. By irony and paradox, if you were deceived, how would you know? How would you get out of that? Just think about it. It's a bit of a paradox, a conundrum. So I had an outside source reach into my life. More than a source, it's the God who created this world and then takes up residence in his children at some point in the human experience. Should be a nice puddle up here. It's a low spot in the road. It happens every time it rains. And there it is. Right there. just like clockwork, just like the celestial bodies that move above the face of the earth, the stationary earth. You can hashtag it. Hashtag stationary earth if you want to. Hashtag YouTube truth if you want. Or deceived, ? All of that. Those are all reservoirs of content that I create. I'm not a pathetic, deceived individual that's just a simpleton. Oh, there's Robert with his water jug and his crystal bell. Yeah, how about that? Well, it's moving now. And then it'll get stationary when I don't move it, when I'm not moving the car. Wow, here's this guy out walking in the rain. I see him almost every day that I come this way at this time of the day. So straight up ahead, I would think the Liquid Money Porta-Johns are there. I'll take us right out there. There's a drain in the low spot right in front of those. I've got the video of the motorcycle running with the water flying off the tire to try and illustrate, or not try, to illustrate what happens with the rotation of that wheel. The water flies off of it. The water will fly off a tennis ball. It'll fling off of your hand if you get it wet and shake it off. All of our interaction with water exposes the impossibility of the globe. Water doesn't stick to a globe. It doesn't stack up on a globe. The global programming. I've got VEMS that I've created. Hashtag VEMES. VEMS. And what I've shown with some of that is an upside down world that's obviously impossible for bulldozers to hang on upside down ships really close to the surf. They're doing a beach renourishment project. I show it. There's the porta units. Yeah, we don't have toilet water flying out on people in Australia because of gravity. Well, hello. It's just water seeking its level. By the way, there's some big surf out there right now. How about that? I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and take us straight on out. I can't go out any further than that with this car. It would very likely get stuck. And I'm going to take us over to the pier. I just wanted to show you what the pier looks like from here. Kind of a novel thing, and I can do it now because it's not raining, but it will be. This is Sea Mountain Highway in Cherry Grove. We can see how the water carves out the sand. It fills up the drain, and then they shovel that out. They have to keep doing it. The water keeps coming, the sand keeps coming. It all requires maintenance. I've got the Shure MV88 as my mic right now instead of my remote mic. There's the pier right there. I don't know how well you can see that. So the lights we can see are directed down lower. If I put my brights on, they'll be higher and obscure my view. It's just the way it actually works. A couple days ago, I wish I would have kept it on the live broadcast. The shower here was, let's see, it's turned off now. It was frozen up. There were massive icicles on it. So the if I want to put the reflection of the YouTube Truth, I've got to step on over here. It would be right there. It's the flat water. That's one of the dynamics, is the puddles are all little plane mirrors. The reason why we've got, well, it was 64 degrees when I left. Now it's 57 here, according to my car's thermometer. But it's all nice and warm, and it's very little visibility right now. Can't see very far out there. So like the roadways are mostly flat. We've got hills and valleys and all that. However, overall, it's pretty flat. Just like railways, mostly flat. They're constructed, the locomotives are constructed to run on a level plane. This morning's broadcast, I mentioned about driving from coast to coast, averaging 55 mpg with a modified diesel Volkswagen. When I got to a 5 or 7% grade, the Smokies or Rockies, my fuel economy estimated by the computer dropped into the low teens, 10, 12, 13 miles a gallon. I averaged 55 mpg. Just so you know, the missing curvature in 2,300 or so miles is roughly a 30% grade. 650 miles of down. Well, now it appears that I've had some kind of a interruption with my with my connection. They're working on the cell tower over there, the cell tower / water tower. So I don't know if that interruption was a part of the problem. We can see how thick the clouds get up towards the top of the building of the Prince Resort. That's less than 200 feet tall, and it's pretty thick up there, a bit thinner down here. A couple days ago I showed the eclipse, and I've recorded that, broadcast it. Okay, the water is obviously flat in those little puddles, and that's the way it works. So that's part of the kind of like the spoiler alert. Not so much. I actually want to give you the answer to the test. I've had a question on one of my videos: do you have to believe the flat earth to go to heaven? No, you just have to actually be born again. Not a whole lot of wishful thinking of a religious hypocrite. How about that? That's what I was. I was a religious hypocrite and did not know it. I didn't know that I wasn't born again. I was actually a spiritually dead man walking. How about that? How does that work? Well, it worked really well to get me to the end of myself. That's the point of that. How about that? So now this, I haven't added any air to this, and it's got a lot more pressure in it. Or does it? There's less pressure. We have a low pressure zone right now. That's what all the rain and storming is. It's a low pressure area. So now I'm a weatherman too. Imagine that. An inventor, investigative journalist, artist, photographer, videographer, movie producer. Yeah, why not? Why not? It's just one more thing. And it's no big deal, really. It's not like what I want to help draw your attention to is that God, the God who created me, Yahweh, Yeshua, the living word, the great I am, the Alpha and Omega, breathed new life into me. All right. So I do believe that because I'm having a problem with the reception, it shows I was recording again. But even though in the selfie mode, it shows the YouTube truth and the hashtag there in the globe. Yeah, I want people to see through the global lie. I do. That's why I do this. It's actually a really big deal because people are basing their eternity on a lie. How about that? Isn't that special? So all the atheists that are clinging to their godless cosmic Big Bang, their celestial sneeze, their cosmic cough, it's just ridiculous. And then they're clinging to their priests of their scientific godless religion. NASA lies. There's an important reason why that's my most hashtagged title, NASA lies. I saw a big crane just land down here. Let's see what we've got. Yesterday I did a recording, or actually a broadcast down here. The crane is right down there. It's not raining right now. I'm gonna take you there. And there's the low spot, that puddle right there. How about that? You know what? This is just a little bit weird. I don't want to have my car facing the wrong direction there. I'm gonna turn it around. So part of this is just a sound check, videography, seeing where I have transmission, and how that all works. But I also wanted to basically mention that some of the mystery with the weather systems is not as complicated as I thought. It's pretty straightforward. It's what it actually is. When the wind blows from the colder area, the center of the country, it's going to be colder here. It's just what it is. It's how it works. And then when it comes from the south, we're going to have warmer. Pretty straightforward. Now with weather modification, let's call it geoengineering. That sounds so much more benevolent. Well, they're still modifying the weather. All they need to do is heat up the atmosphere in the center of the country, and it'll change. It'll draw temperature from the south up here. They know what they're doing. They know how to do it. So today, right now, we've got the water flowing out. The Prince is right here. The water is flowing the opposite direction, going out. We've got four. Okay, so I've got a whirlpool spinning counterclockwise there. I've got a thumbnail where they're spinning against each other, one spinning clockwise and one counterclockwise, right next to each other. That's what they'll do, but we've got a lot of wind, about 18 miles an hour, coming from the southwest right now. So that's going to change that a bit. It's going to interrupt the surface of the water. Now there's a large crane right down here. I'm going to kind of sneak up on him. There he is. Can you see him? He's very aware I'm here. I think I ticked him off a little bit. And one of the things that I would draw your attention to now that he's relocated is that little sliver of reflection right there in the middle. Well, that's wet sand, and the rising tide will cover it up. It's just what it does. The tide rises and falls, comes and goes. It's just how it works. So the majority of the earth is covered by water, maybe 70% or so. We can see the reflection. Oop, I've got my light on. Yeah, we can see the reflection of the building right there. Yesterday's broadcast, it was really clear. And we can see these reflections here quite a bit more pronounced because they're not getting rippled by the wind that's coming this way. A lot of ripples there. Undisturbed water is flat and level. Okay, so like I showed on my driveway earlier today, the reflection of the street light on the puddle, same thing's happening right there, right in front of you. So these urban displays that I'm elaborating on may seem, oh, so simple. Oh, Robert's such a simpleton. What I'm wanting to do is to show you the reality of the world that we live in, not the make-believe stuff. I've got zoomed in video of beautiful symmetry of clam beds and that look like a perfect mirror, because it is. There was no wind movement. Conversely, now we've got a lot of wind. And the yesterday's broadcast, the water came up. I showed you up to close to the top of the culverts right there. One of the things that's going on is much of humanity has got a programming that causes them to reject new information that contradicts what they've previously believed to be true. So right down this road, I've got recordings of school buses in the same video where the septic toilet pumper is coming to pump out the toilets. Unfortunately, the children, the youth, are getting toilet water pumped into their brain. They're getting a false reality fed to them. We see it on the beaches. On here. They're going to be presented upside down Australia in relationship to us, which obviously is not real. It's not the case. You know, there's the United States, but it's all in reverse. Let's see, how is it if I flip it around? Yeah, it's all kind of weird, isn't it? Let's see how I can do this. And one of the reasons